Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the MakeCode Arcade Advanced Stream Junior. It seems like Fridays are more and more often becoming junior streams.
I mean, this one might become a juniors stream.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
That's possible.
I'm Richard at Richard on the MakeCode forum.
And I'm Joey at JWonderl on the MakeCode forum.
Yeah, Joey was saying that Shannon might join late. She said she might join late, so we'll see. She might not.
We'll see if we can trust her.
Okay, so today we're going to be making a game that comes as a request of another member of our team, which was they said that they really like the game Ori Will of the Wisps, which or Ori in the Blind Forest, both of those games. And I figured we'd make a game that kind of has some of the mechanics that are in that game, which is fun. It's a good game. Have you played it, Joey?
I played it. I feel like a while ago. Yeah. It was like 5 years ago, I think. So I barely remember besides just like being a good platformer.
Mm-hmm. It's a good Metroidvania, I would say. It's got a lot of fun things that I think work really well. The things that I like is one, it has this save mechanic where you can just put a save point and then that becomes your checkpoint. And if you die, you just instantly respawn at that place where you saved. You just hold a button to make it happen. And it's really cool. I mean, I know it's basically the same as just saving, but it feels really, really good and different for some reason. And then another thing is you move super fast and you just jump in this. The jumps are really weighty and it feels really good, I feel like.
Is it like how does it compare to like Meat Boy and like super speedy weighty jumps, I guess?
I would say it's similar to Meat Boy. Yeah.
Okay.
Except it feels smooth. As I feel like Meat Boy feels kind of jagged sometimes, especially when you're running. You know,
yeah.
And it has like more terrain to it as opposed to just straight lines like Meat Boy has. So it's got kind of like, yeah. And then the other thing is it has combat that is super simplified that I think works really well, which is you just hit a button and it attacks anything that is in a radius. That's it.
Okay.
Makes sense. Direction and everything don't matter. And at first I was like, that's kind of lame. But then I was like, you know what? I actually kind of like this. It's just really nice to just be able to jump up near something and then start attacking it.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to do something along those lines. I'm not going to be doing much art for this game. I just want to get the mechanics in. So it's going to be mainly a mechanics stream. But let's start by doing a tile map. So I'm going to create a tile map right now. And let's do an 8x8 tile map. I always like 8x8 tile maps.
Someday we won't need to add an extension for 8x8 tile maps.
Yeah, I believe. Are you playing any video games lately?
Yeah, I've been playing Tales of Arise as we were just talking about right before stream, which is a really good one. Yeah, it's a fun one. I really like the series, so I'm biased a little bit, but I think it's a good entry. And then Pokemon Unite. I was playing something else, but I can't remember it off the top of my head.
Were you playing anything?
Oh, I'm also playing Tales, as you mentioned. And it's it's good. It's the first Tales game that I feel like I've kind of gotten into, you know. And I also want to work on. I've just charged my Switch yesterday so that I can start playing Animal Crossing because Vivian wants me to start playing Animal Crossing.
Ooh, nice. I think my village is probably empty.
Mine too.
Yes, not village.
But did you see the new DLC they announced? It's got so much cool stuff in it.
Well, I'll take a look. I remember what I need to play next again, which is Hollow Knight. Let's see if we're about that today.
Oh yeah, play Hollow Knight. That's a good game.
Is it on Switch?
Yeah, that's where I played it.
Nice. Okay.
Okay, so I just want to have a little sandbox area where we can jump around and it's got some stuff. So we're going to be doing wall jumps. So I want to have this little wall area right here. And we're also just going to have, you know, general things to move around in. So let's go ahead and do that for now. We're going to create a character, and I think our character is just going to be a rectangle, at least to start. So we're going to make them 6 by 6, I think. And for color, we'll do blue. Does that stand out? Yeah, you can see that guy.
Yeah. It's a nice those two colors work together, which makes sense because they like came from a pixel artist color palette, but.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and create our gravity variable like we normally do. We're going to start with 500. We might end up going higher than 500, but we'll see. And we're going to also set the acceleration on our guy. So let's go to, I want my sprite, and I just want to set their AY to be gravity.
Ooh, maybe we'll use friction for the first time in a while too.
Oh, we could.
Well, not if we want to use these. That's fine.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So if we want to do friction, which why not? Let's do it. We want to instead do something probably like an on-game update. Let's see. Actually, how do we want to do this? So if we're doing friction, we want to make it so that.
Yeah, this is one question first. Do you want you to immediately turn around when you hold a button, or do you want to make it so it applies a force in that direction so you can like go backwards?
It's a good question. Let's try it first with the immediate turnaround, because one, that's easier to code, and two, that's generally how I like my platformers. But
I think that's how Meat Boy does it.
Yeah. So we're going to have an is right and is left button pressed. And what we're going to be doing in here is we are going to be setting our velocity. So we're just going to set the Vx of our guy to be whatever our move speed is. So let's go ahead and make a variable for that so we can tweak things. It's good to tweak things.
And even if we leave this the same forever, it's still useful to have that, right? Because then you can like know what you're looking for and your code makes more sense.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to put it 70 for now. All right, and so if right is pressed, we want to set our Vx to be 70. And if left is pressed, we want our Vx to be negative 70. So we're just going to do 0 minus. Okay. So we have basically recreated the controller move thing, but you might be noticing that I don't stop when I release a button. And so this is what we're going to be using friction for. So we're going to put on enough friction that we stop when we stop pressing a button, but it's going to take a few steps, basically, before we fully come to a stop. So let's go ahead and go into our sprite. We're going to go up here and set their Fx, that's friction x, to be some number. And to be honest, I can never gauge what friction should be.
Yeah, it's the same as acceleration, but it's hard to visualize, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so here I'm just pushing the button momentarily, and you can see how far I move.
Maybe 500.
Yeah. So let's up this by quite a bit. Let's do 500. Why not?
Let's see.
That's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, so you gotta watch the button to see when I'm releasing it on the D-pad. But there is a slight amount of sliding that happens afterwards. It's definitely smoother than when we instant stop. And let's try a ridiculous value to make sure that I'm not just making this up. Yeah. Weirdly, the friction definitely affects your move speed.
Oh, it does?
Yeah. That's a bug. You need to fix that.
That's weird. Yeah. Oh, I know why it does. Okay. Yeah.
It should be applied after the move step.
Yeah, right now it's applied right in parallel with the acceleration, which is like a weirdly timed thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Well, for now, this is good. We're going to go ahead and use this. So another thing we want to do is we want to make it so that we can jump. That's a thing you do in video games.
What?
So we're going to do just our classic jump code. We're going to be doing an if statement. And you know what? This time I'm actually going to use that block that Joey worked so hard on.
Ooh. Hopefully I wrote it correctly. Done it.
Got it. All right. One day I'm going to stealth change the name of this repo. Okay, so Joey made this jump function that we're going to be using. And this jump function is nice because it automatically uses our acceleration to make sure that we jump a certain height. Normally, we write a formula to do it. And let me go ahead and just write out that formula just for reference. It is the square root of 2 times gravity times jump height. So in this case, it would be 2 times 500 times 34. And that would be what our velocity should be. We would make it negative because we're going up. But we've got this fancy function to do it for us.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to make sure we only do this if we're on the ground. Sorry, were you going to say something, Jay?
Nah, that was all I was gonna say. Like the code is the same thing as that if you look at it in the repo.
Yeah. All right. There we go. So we're jumping up 34 pixels, which I think is actually that's a pretty good jump height. Let's see. So that is just over 4 tiles. So you can see I'm barely making it up to that 5th tile up there, which is good. Let's tweak our map a little bit so that I can have some things to jump onto. Like that should be good enough. Nice. Okay. Yeah. So I can easily make that jump. You want to make sure that you give yourself a little bit of wiggle room. That's why we're doing 34, not 32, because 4 times 8 is 32. But you want to have some wiggle room so that you don't have to be absolutely perfect with your jumps, because that's just a pain.
Yeah, and it's always possible that our math will be slightly off, and we'll get you up 31.995 pixels and not quite be able to reach you at the pink.
Yep. So always pad it a bit. 2 pixels is a pretty good number. Okay. So we've got our basic jumping. We want to do a few other things. So I'm thinking right now, what's one thing we don't do very often, which might be fun? Actually, I'm not 100% sure this is in Ori. No, it has to be. It has to be.
I mean, that save mechanic might be fun too, but yeah.
The save mechanic might also be fun, yeah. We want to do wall jumps because that's a good thing to do. And I also want to do, we're going to stop using that block we just added and do variable jump height.
Yes.
Yeah. So variable jump height. A lot of games, a lot of platformers, for example, Hollow Knight, and I'm guessing Ori does it. Most of the really good platformers do this. Make it so that you can jump different amounts by how long you hold the A button for. So the idea being that if you just do a tiny little press, you'll just do a tiny hop. And if you hold it down for a little bit more, you'll reach the top of your jump and come down. Which lets you makes it so you can do a lot more precise platforming. And it just feels really good, in my opinion. And it's a little bit tough to code, I think, but I think we can manage it. First, though, let's do wall jumps. Okay, do you want to do infinite wall jumps? Yeah, let's do infinite wall jumps. Why not? You don't need to count those.
Getting wall jumps that feel good is also slightly tedious. Just for anybody watching, be prepared if you want to get it just exactly right.
Yep, it's true. Okay, so let's just do the easiest thing first. We're going to make it so that this is not going to be the perfect thing that Joey mentioned. We're going to make it so that if we are hitting a wall left, then we will also do a jump by less than if we are on the ground. So we'll make it like
26.
26. Sure, that's fine. That's 1 tile less. So now we can, yeah. So you can see I can do a little jump there. All right. So this works okay, but it kind of is a little bit weird because look, I can just press like A and hold left and just shoot up like a rocket, which is not good. I don't like that. What we want to do, I think, is that when you do a wall jump, we want you to move away from the wall a little bit and then come back over.
Yeah.
So it's like you're kicking off. And we're going to have to make some changes to our control code to make this work. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to say if the is right button pressed, we're going to do the applying force thing that we talked about. So I'm going to make a new variable, which is going to be called direction for rate thing. What should I call this?
Impulse? Maybe? No.
Turn acceleration?
There's several ways to do this. I'm not sure I have the same one in mind as you, so I'm not sure what the variable is going to do.
Okay, all right. So the idea is I'm going to be using this, and if is right button pressed, then I'm going to be doing a set the Vx to be the current Vx plus whatever our turn thing is, our turn acceleration.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to cap it at the maximum move speed. So we're going to do a minimum of this.
Makes sense.
So
yeah. The thing I had in mind was probably a dumb one, but it was just to set like a timeout for like after you kick off a wall, you can't change the velocity with the left and right buttons for like 150 milliseconds. So just time it out. But I think this is way better.
All right. So okay, we're going. Yep, we're going. You see him moving. He's working on it.
There we go. That's a good little guy.
Yeah, this is fighting our friction right now. So we need to make this a little bit more. We're gonna make this like 5, and we're just gonna feel this out. So, nope.
We have fairly high friction, right, with that. So it probably would be up like 40 even. Oh, 40 is pretty high. Ah, there you go. You got it.
Yeah, that actually feels pretty good. Okay.
Is this 20?
This is 20. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can see it.
All right, let's do the other direction. So it's going to be the same thing, but we want to do minus, and we want to do max, and we want to do the negative move speed, right? Yeah,
that looks right.
It's usually if you just flip it, that's what you want. Okay, yeah. So now it takes me a little bit of time to turn around, as you can see, but it still feels pretty tight. I got to say, it doesn't feel too like wishy-washy, which is what we want.
Yeah. It's a little bit more realistic, and we can also add ice levels, like everybody loves, really easily.
Yeah, everybody loves ice levels. They're the best. Also, everybody loves us playing as Luigi in Super Mario Bros. A lot of people don't know that Luigi is actually different than Mario in the original Super Mario Bros. Game. I think once you actually play as him, you realize it pretty quickly. But he can jump higher, and he slips and slides around. It's awful.
Yeah. Do speedrunners use Luigi or Mario? They must use.
I have no clue, actually. I mean, I could imagine that, like, the characteristics of jumping high could be good. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to now tweak our wall jump code. So we're going to leave this jump 26 pixels because that's going to be setting our VY, and that's what we want. But we're going to be setting our VX to be something that we code. And as you keep holding down the button, you're going to be moving back in the direction. So I'm going to make this like negative. Let's see, our max speed is 70. I'm going to make this like, sorry, actually, I want this to be positive because it's the left wall. Again, I'm just going to put in a value and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so look at that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. For Super Mario Galaxy, it looks like it's Luigi by about 8 minutes. Wow. 2.5 hours, 2 hours 20 minutes.
Huh. All right. Okay, so this is good. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Do we need a little bit more of an impulse to the kickoff, or is this feeling like how you want it? It's slightly laggy on the Teams call, so I can't.
Oh yeah, sorry. If you watch the stream, you'll see it better because the
Ah, okay, that actually looks good on the stream. Maybe a little bit more impulse, but I can see this one. It's just
Yeah,
exactly
I
depending on what you want.
we'll make it double it and just see what that looks like. That's
Oh.
not bad.
That looks good to me.
Yeah, I like that. Let's put this in a variable. We'll put it up here and we'll make it new variable, jump, impulse. I guess just wall kickoff velocity.
Mm-hmm.
Set that to be 140. And let's go ahead and put this right here. And we're gonna make more variables because I think we might spend the end of this stream tweaking stuff. So I'm gonna make this jump height, which we're gonna set to be 34. Whoops. And I'm gonna make wall jump height.
The other fun thing about making all these variables is that it makes it really easy for people to come in later and make their own game by just, tweaking all this and swapping out the art.
That's what I was thinking. Actually, we might have put all of these in a function just to make it a little bit clearer. But these are good. This is a good starting point if you're making a certain type of platformer. Mm-hmm. Okay, while we're doing this, we're going to go ahead and do the other direction as well. So let's go ahead and do is hitting wall right. We're just going to be doing, you guessed it, the negative jump wall kickoff velocity and the same jump that we were doing. Cool. Yeah, all right. Jump. All right. I gotta say, this feels pretty good. I might come back if we ever make a platformer again. I might come back to this code.
Yeah, I think it's worthwhile. Maybe we should do a platformer week even.
Oh yeah, that's not a bad
idea. Take this and spin it off.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got the basic stuff now. Let's see. What do we want to do? Is there any more platformer mechanics that we can put in before we?
Can you build like a pipe and try jumping up it, where you have to do like a bounce on one side, bounce on the other, and see how that feels? That's the part that feels hardest usually to get right.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so we'll just do this.
Let's see, so
I have a feeling it's not going to work, so we'll end up tweaking it.
So I'll just for anybody watching, because we've done this a million times, I feel like the thing that comes the hardest with this one is that when you're trying to jump up here, typically your feeling is that you should immediately, like right before you press, or even at the same time that you press the jump button, you're going to start to push your stick to the right. You're going to start to make it so you press right so you can get to the other side. But that will immediately make it so you can't wall jump, because you're like right after that frame, you're no longer going to be hitting the wall. So we'd have to do something to account for that. On the other hand, you can say that, like, technically, realistically, you should be hitting the wall still if you're going to be jumping off the wall. Actually, did the impulse thing make this way better? Maybe this actually fixed it, because if the friction is still applying in that direction, maybe that just incidentally
friction is too much, I think. Because look, this is me lifting it up as I jump, and you can see I stop in the middle here. I don't even go far enough.
Yeah.
So I think what we want to do is tweak the friction a little bit. So let me make a variable for that too. You know what we could even do? Oh, this is a good idea.
Just wrap this up in an extension.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. But we're going to do two types of friction. We're going to do air friction and ground friction.
Oh, that's a nice way to handle this. That's also a realistic way to handle this.
Exactly.
And it's easier to add ice way to handle this in the future too. Perfect.
That's true. So we're going to be setting our ground friction right here. And our ground friction is going to be 500 because that's what we've been using. We're going to be setting our air friction to some other number. and we're going to be using an on-game update to determine if we are in the air or not. So let me go ahead and copy this check that we're doing. I want to get rid of that, and that, and that, and that, and that. That was a lot of stuff to delete just to copy this, like basically 2 blocks.
Yeah. Also, fun fact: unsigned Arduino. Right as we were talking about it, said it in chat. So it's like it's almost like we stole it, but it was like simultaneous with us talking about it.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got ground friction and air friction. We're gonna set our air friction to be like 100. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll play.
All right, that's nice. Okay, so this doesn't work though, right? Because we do this jump off, right? And then when you hit the other wall, you are hitting the wall for a second, not a second, a frame. And then you are no longer hitting the wall because your velocity has been canceled.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use some timers, I think, to make this work. So my basic idea here, Joey, is that we're gonna have a touching wall timer. And we're going to use that possibly in combination with, were we touching the wall in the last 100 milliseconds? And is our velocity 0? And if those 2 things are true, then we know that we can do a jump.
Mm-hmm. I think either that's how I did it in Jumpy Platformer / Corgio / the other ones I've done, or it might be that I did frame timers in an on-game update. So I did like 4 frames, which I mean, they're very similar. They're basically the same approach, just different whatever time you want to use.
Yeah. The other way we could do it, actually, that I'm thinking about right now, is we could just detect, are we 1 pixel away from a wall? Nah, let's do timers.
Yeah, I kind of like timers.
Otherwise, you could just press A here twice, and you would do a jump.
That feels bad.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. We're making a new variable. This is going to have like 100 variables just for a simple platformer game. Wall, kickoff, timer. And I think that I actually like your idea of doing frames. So we'll do this with frames. So let me rename it to make that clear. Frame timer. And we're going to set this to be 5 frames. I don't know. Well, we're going to tweak it. So we should maybe actually make it too much right now. So 10 frames is 1/3 of a second, so 300 milliseconds. So we're also going to be creating a 2 variables to track if we have been on the left or been on the right. We could do this as variables, or to make our code a little bit cleaner, I think what I'm actually going to do is add an extension. What time is it, Joey?
It's arcade, right?
Arcade. Right. Data.
Yeah. Has it been forever since we've used this extension? It feels like it's been forever.
I feel like we did it a day or 2 ago, but you might not have been on stream.
That might be it.
Well, one thing I got to say is that the arcade sprite data doesn't work as well when there's only 2 of us.
That's true. We need more. It's kind of like why am I blanking on this? When like 6 people sing at once, it's a thing. It's a term. I'm blanking on what. No. Well, you have like the deep voices and the high voices, and they all sing a song, and it sounds good together. Yeah.
Okay.
That is true. We have the insight in chat that Vivian makes up for like 5 people doing it when she does it because she's so excited and all that.
And so she has the enthusiasm that we lack.
We just don't match the energy level.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to be tracking these timers on our sprite. So we're going to be doing another check inside of our on-game update. We're going to say, are we hitting a wall to the right? And if we are, we're going to reset our timer. So let's go right over here to this set data to number. Make this our my sprite. We're going to set this to right frame timer. And we're going to set it to our, wall kickoff frame timer. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing, but for left.
Oh, I think I remember doing this one. I used negative and positive for left, right. And it
yeah.
kind of worked, but it's not a very clear system. This is way better.
Yeah. Okay, and if we are not hitting the wall, then what we're going to do is this on-game update runs once per frame. So we're just going to take our timer and we're going to reduce it by 1. And that'll make it so that when it gets down to 0, we know we can't do a jump. But yeah. So let's go to our, we want this to be my sprites. This needs to be on my to-do list. I need to go and go into the sprite data extension and make it so that this is not item. Be great.
I'm so curious why the default's item. Like, have we ever had item as a?
Yeah, we did. We used to use that as
name.
That was the default variable name for a while in Microbit.
Really?
It was, yeah. I remember.
I guess it makes sense that's why it's the default variable name.
Yeah, because on my first day, when I was working on MakeCode stuff, I was like, oh, there's a game category in Microbit. Oh, this variable is called item. I guess that's like an item in the game. And I was confused.
The game category in Microbit. Ooh.
Yeah, that thing. Okay, so this is working. One thing though is that this is going to, we probably want to cap this actually. So instead we'll do a set. We're going to do some math. We'll do just the current value -1. I was trying to avoid dragging out all of these blocks, but we might run into some trouble if we let the game run for a while.
It'd be quite a while. What's the double maximum value digits?
I don't know, but it's not actually, you know, it's 31 bits, so it's the same as the integer.
Okay.
Is it actually 31 bits? I don't remember. Okay, so we have the right frame timer -1, and we're just going to cap it. So we're going to do the max of this and 0, because if this goes negative, then 0 will be higher, and so it'll keep it at 0. And we're just going to do the same thing right here, but we're going to do copy, paste, paste. Okay, cool. Well, that was a long walk to here. Now that we have got this, we're going to do, let's see. Well, actually, we'll leave this if statement as it is, but we're going to get rid of these is hitting walls. And we're just going to do a comparison. So we're going to get to that number we were just looking at. Let me go ahead and duplicate it down here. If our MySprite left frame timer is greater than 0, then we can do a jump. And just to be super safe, we are also going to clear our left frame timer. I don't think that this will actually matter, but it'll. I'm shutting down some speedrunners right now, basically.
I mean, if you like spammed the A button as you were going off, you'd be able to get an extra, well, in this case, 1/3 of a second of jump.
Yeah. So I'm clearing this just to shut down those speedrunners who would exploit this to go extra high.
Yeah.
We
don't want any of those people, like those ones who like turn around and walk backwards for an hour so that they can speedrun the rest of the game. Disgusting.
We love speedrunners. Both Joey and I like watching speedruns.
That is my favorite speedrun of the game, where you just it's Wind Waker. Yeah, where they jump off the cliff, they just like walk backwards into the water for like 5 minutes, and they turn around and they just fly through the water to the like end of the game.
Yeah, it's a fun glitch where basically it like as you're walking backwards or something, it like ends up building your velocity, and it just stores it just with a super high velocity number. So once it gets high enough, you can just like move super fast.
Yeah, it was there's a cap on maximum velocity, but there's no negative cap on velocity, I think was what it was.
All right, so now look, I'm jumping up against the wall and then I'm releasing. And I'm still able to do the jump.
Nice.
That's good. And let's see, I can do the jump, 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 jump. Yeah, so that works. Let's see what if we can figure out kind of what the maximum time for this is.
So question here: do you want to be able to just press A at the right time, or should it need to be like you are impacted into the right wall with your right button to jump into it? Does that make sense? I guess we probably don't want to bother with that because that'll be a lot.
I think I don't know if I completely understand what you're saying. Is this not the behavior you expect?
Some games would require you to apply the force to do the wall jump, right? So you to do a wall jump, you have to be holding right and press A at some point. But that seems like a lot, and I kind of like this behavior personally.
Yeah, me too. All right, cool. Yeah, so we've got some pretty good wall jumps going now.
Nice.
One thing I kind of want to know is, let's go into our test map. I'm going to erase all this. Now there's just going to be a hole in the sky. All right, and I want to see how far we go if I just let it go. Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's a big arc, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. All right, cool. Okay, so what's the last thing I wanted to do for jumping? I wanted to make it so that you have variable jump height.
Have we ever done this?
I don't know if we've ever done it on stream. I've definitely made games in arcade that do it, but I'm not sure I've ever done it on stream.
Mm-hmm. So is it going to be like an on repeat with the timer from when you pressed it down to get like the max, or how do you do it?
The way I've done it in the past was I set a velocity for when you're jumping, and I continually set that velocity for a timer until the button is pressed and when the timer fails. So basically, you start going up at your maximum velocity, and you keep at that velocity until a certain amount of time has passed, or you release A. So it ends up being pretty similar to the jump thing, but you end up getting a little bit of bonus height. One thing, though, is that we can't do our super fancy figuring out the exact number of pixels that you jump.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's probably some math to do this. I'm sure there is. But yeah, I don't.
It's a lot.
Off the top of my head, I'd have to write it out. I think it actually wouldn't be that difficult to figure out what this formula should be, but I'm not going to do it live on stream. All right, let's undo and restore our tile map. Okay, so once again, the goal for what we're going to be doing is we want to make it so that when we jump, we can hold down the button longer to go higher, or shorter to go not as high. So to do that, let's go ahead and go into our on A button pressed. Let me think. I think what we want to do is we're going to, inside of this on A button pressed, we're going to set a variable, which is going to be jump timer. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and say this is the global that we've been doing, since we might as well just stick to what we've been doing for our time stuff. So I'm going to make this the max jump frame time. And we're going to set this up here. We're going to say that you can get a boost of, I really don't know what this should be. So I'm going to put it as like 30. That's probably way too high.
30 frames?
Yeah.
Is that? Okay.
I think it's
1 second.
Probably way too high. Yeah. So what we're going to do is when we do this on A button pressed, if we are hitting the wall bottom, then what we're going to be doing is set a frame timer just like we did over here. So I'm going to go ahead and set this frame timer. to be our jump frame timer. The other thing we want to do now is we're going to do an on A button released. And when that happens, we're going to set our jump frame timer to 0. So this will cancel our jump immediately.
Are we gonna do the same thing for wall jumps? I can't think if
I don't know if we should or not. I don't know if it'll make that big of a difference, to be honest.
Yeah.
We'll see when we get there. It's probably easy to swap in and out.
Okay, and now inside of here, we're going to do a comparison like we were doing for that other one. We're going to do this if our timer is greater than 0. So we want to do our jump frame timer. Then we are going to do just like this. Our jump frame timer is going to be the jump frame timer -1. And we're now going to say, are we holding the A button? Or actually, I guess what we're going to do is if this is greater than 0, all we have to do is call our jump code. So let's go ahead and do our jump. And we're going to put in, even though it doesn't mean the same thing anymore, we're going to put in our jump height.
So now the jump height is, if you just tap it and it immediately goes, it will apply that force. And if you hold it down, it'll apply that force from where you last held it after that time period.
So you can see this is me just tapping it and me holding it. I go way higher. All right, so we have to tweak this, obviously. So we're going to go down here. We're going to go to where we have our jump height, and we're going to make this way lower. So once you release, you're going to go 8 pixels higher. All right, so now I can do a little jump, or I can hold it and do a bigger jump. We're not jumping as high as we did before, though, so maybe I'll tweak this a bit. Okay, so our only real way of tweaking this right now is I'm going to go into our jump height and I'm just going to make this higher. So let's make it 16. And okay, so that's about as high as we were before, right?
Yeah, I think so.
See, if I can jump up here, then it's as high as we were before. Yeah, there we go.
Nice.
Yeah, that's nice. And now I can hold A and like I can do little hops.
Can you do the Mario jumps? You know, the one where it's like jump or like hop, skip, and then long jump?
Do you want me to do that, Joey?
I kind of do.
We've still got some other stuff to do first.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, so main things we have to do first is look at this.
Yeah, I have to clear it on hitting wall top.
Yeah. So also it's feeling a little weird now, I think.
Feeling weird, just like less snappy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like the way that we do it in the first place is that you have set your initial velocity. So if we set it lower to begin with, how do we fix this? I guess we just raise the acceleration.
Raising the acceleration will make it better. The thing is, I feel like it feels like we're going slower because I think what's happening is we're setting constant velocity at the beginning, but that constant velocity is lower than the velocity we were using before.
Yeah, but if we raise the acceleration, we'll reach the same height, but we'll reach it faster.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Right, the peak is going to be the same, but the arc is going to be faster.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Okay, so we're going to make this like 800. All right, so we can jump higher. I think it feels better, but we're definitely jumping higher than we were before, which makes sense because we're now moving at a different velocity for that period where we're at a constant velocity.
Yeah. So this would be if we want to lower that, we want to reduce the frame time.
Yes, exactly. So our little hop is just as high as it was before, a little bit higher, but not much. Just because it's hard to press the button for exactly one frame.
Mhm.
But our high hop is a little bit higher. So in order to fix that, like Joey said, we're going to take our frame time and we're going to make it a little bit lower. So we're going to make it not 29, 20.
And that also brings it to 2/3 of a second, which I was guessing about half a second is what would feel right for a long jump max duration. So I think that feels right to me.
Yeah. I can't quite put my finger on it, but this still feels a little bit weird. I think maybe I'm gonna have to make a bigger level so I can actually play this out a little bit.
Yeah.
I do like how fast you fall now.
Mhm.
I feel like it's something to do with the friction.
Something about the friction feels a little bit weird to me right now. Yeah.
The jumping feels fine. It's pretty good, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's just tweaking the numbers a little bit is going to be what sells it. I don't know if there's anything actually like code wise wrong necessarily.
Setting air friction to 0. Makes this jump super fast. It's really a bummer how the friction affects. Maybe we should implement our own friction.
Yeah. Maybe it's just the VX feels off. Can we like add 10, 20, 30 to the VX?
Let's do it.
Because like you're jumping way faster than you're walking right now.
Yeah. So let's move our move speed up to 100, which isn't actually 100 because of what this friction's doing.
Mhm.
Yeah, that feels better. Also, I think that removing the air friction was the right move.
Yeah, or at least very low. Yeah, but 0's fine to start with for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, this feels pretty good. Okay, we still need to fix this though, which is, it might be kind of hard to tell, but I'm hanging for a second on the ceiling because I am still within my jump range when I press this. It'll be a little clearer if I were to put like a tile, one tile up, like the wall, one tile up from the bottom of this. So go ahead and do that real quick. I'm going to just mark that down here, and so that we can actually
this one
see it.
actually might be pretty hard to see though. If your sprite's 8x8, right?
No, it's 6x6.
Oh, okay, perfect then.
All right, so you can see I'm jumping up and I hang there for just like 2/3 of a second basically until I fall down. So I should be hitting it and instantly going down. So to make that happen, it's pretty easy. We're going to do an on-game update. We're going to do the last direction, I guess, that we aren't checking anywhere in our code, which is going to be, are we hitting wall top? And if we are, then we are going to set our jump frame timer to be 0, because that'll make it so that we can no longer hold up. So now I fall right back down. Perfect. So this is me with falling right back down. This is me getting stuck. So hopefully that's clear. It's definitely clear to me as I'm playing the game.
Yeah, I can even tell it on the call for sure.
All right, cool. Okay, nice. All right, well, I've been wanting to do one of these like pure mechanics streams for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this has been fun. Oh, we definitely need to tweak this wall jump timer. So let's go over here.
Did we take off the that last piece of code you wrote, by the way?
Oh, let me put that back in.
You were demoing it off, but we should
back in there. Okay, so I'm tweaking the wall jump timer because I I was doing some air hops that I should not have been able to do. Okay, now that's a little bit too short. But basically what was happening was I was like not even close to the wall anymore, and I was doing a jump up here, which was no good, obviously. Okay, so I think I'll split the difference.
5. Okay. Yeah, 7 or 8 feels good. 1/5 of a second. That's about right.
Okay.
We're taking it for granted, but we try and scale arcade. Like the minimum frame timer is 30 milliseconds per frame, and so that's what we mean when we say like 7 frames is going to be about 210 milliseconds, about 1/5 of a second.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's definitely not guaranteed to be exact.
Mhm.
And really, there's a bit of a problem with this game right now, which we could fix if we had more time, but whatever. Which is that the physics engine actually works based off game time, and we're working based off frames. So ideally, we would make everything work based off frames for this game in particular, which would make it so that everything is extremely precise. You don't want to do that for all video games. Most video games, time works pretty well, especially in arcade, especially if your game is running a little bit slow. Using time is much better than using frames. But yeah.
A little bit harder to reason about if nothing else, right? You'd have to say on game update every 10 frames instead of every 300 milliseconds.
For sure. And like I said, it's normally what you want. Normally, if you're losing frames, you kind of want the game to keep going, even when the frames aren't, being drawn. But it's just for like a really precise game like this that we don't want that. So
yeah.
All right.
This looks pretty good to me.
Oh, okay. Well, we didn't actually get to any of the Ori stuff. Basically, we just ended up making a really tight platformer.
We probably have time to save the location if you want to speed run that.
I don't know. I like this as it is, because it's a good starter code that we can use to just import for other things.
Sure.
Let's see. Is there any other mechanic stuff that we can do in 5 minutes?
In 5 minutes, like we could do smashing things, like headbutting things. We could do. I don't know if that could be 5 minutes. I don't know anything good other than that because like collectibles are trivial, right? Like that's just code that we always write. We don't need to write that.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so I'm gonna take all of these variables that we've got, and I'm gonna put them inside of this function, and I'm gonna go ahead and call this function at the beginning.
So I wonder how the game would play with 0 for everything.
I think everything would just not move.
That's true.
And let's see, and then I'll rename my sprite to be the player, and we'll go ahead and change this to be platformer starter. All right, and I think we'll just end now. We're at time anyway, pretty much. All right, so thank you for tuning in to the MakeCode Arcade Advanced stream. My name is Richard. I'm at Richard on the MakeCode forum.
I'm Joe at JWondrel on the MakeCode forum.
And let me get the share link. Okay, if you could put that in Twitch chat. So I think I might have put in an apostrophe at the end of that accidentally. And